Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But
that video of a 2016 Donald Trump speech is resurfaced online. It's recirculating, and for two really important reasons. The first is it shows not only who Donald Trump is, because we see him every day. We know who he is at this point, but it's important because it shows who he always was, that this isn't a new thing, that the events of January 6th didn't spontaneously happen because of Donald Trump's rhetoric on that day, but it's because he's been building to this with the divisive rhetoric of his campaign since 2015 when he first announced that this is who Donald Trump has always been. And that's how we've gotten to this place. That's the second reason why this video is so important, because it shows how we've gotten to this place. That the way that the MAGA cult has been programmed to think that political violence and fear and anger and intimidation through political violence has been so normalized that it has now infested the political culture at large. That this fear, this anger, and these actions, which should be condemned and have been condemned, have become normalized. This fear and anger exists more so than ever because of who Donald Trump has been and who he is today. That it wasn't just broad condemnation, which it was from Democrats, calling the events of 2 days ago a tragedy, but it wasn't just that by Republicans. They saw it as an opportunity to blame Joe Biden, to say, Joe Biden, send in the attack. You saw Republican Congressman Mike Collins said, he called it in. And what does that do? That creates more anger. That potentially could cause more political violence when you push these dangerous conspiracy theories. But it's what's programmed into MAGA now. And that word is going to be important. But to illustrate it, I want to show you this clip, which is just horribly uncomfortable, but we have to watch it from a Trump rally to show you what Trump supporters are like. Let's check this out. So like I said, this dehumanization of the MAGA opponents, the way that they view the people on the opposite side of the aisle of them, not just as having policy disagreements, but being evil, being not human, being someone that they have to attack, that's how MAGA views their opponents. And that's why it needs to be deprogrammed out of them. And someone who said this and stated it so perfectly, made a great analysis of the MAGA mindset, was Hillary Clinton. So let's check out what she had to say.
Very strong partisans in both parties in the past, and we had very bitter battles over all kinds of things, gun control and climate change and the economy and taxes. But there wasn't this little tail of extremism wagging the dog of the Republican Party as it is today. Mm-hmm. And sadly, so many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen. And
completely spot on, as always. I think we should continue to, and maybe should have listened to Hillary Clinton about the MAGA mindset a long time ago. And of course, anytime that Hillary Clinton says something true, Republicans lose it and get upset and start attacking her. And so they had all this faux outrage about Hillary Clinton saying that Republicans need to be deprogrammed, and it was some big controversy for them. And Jessica Tarlov, who we love, big fan of her, friend of the show, went on Fox to shut down this outrage and flip it on them to say, oh, you think that Hillary saying that MAGA needs to be deprogrammed is an attack? What about all the attacks that Republicans make on Democrats? So let's check out what Jessica had to say.
But I really need everyone to spare me the faux outrage and the pearl clutching about this. Little collection of things that Donald Trump and high-ranking Republicans call liberals on a daily basis: anarchists, anti-American, deranged, communists, corrupt, compromised, groomers and perverts, thugs and traitors. Now, she was explicit that she was talking about a subsection of the Republican Party the same way that Joe Biden is when he talks about this MAGA extremism. But you tell me, if the leader of the Democratic Party, so that would be Joe Biden, was facing 4 indictments with 91 felony counts, he had been found liable of sexually assaulting a woman and defaming her, that's E. Jean Carroll, guilty of fraud, sharing the nation's secrets, not only in the Mar-a-Lago indictment, but there was a report yesterday from ABC News that he had shared information about our nuclear submarine capacities with an Australian billionaire who's a member at Mar-a-Lago, who had then gone on and shared that with dozens of other people. Ended up making a purchase, I think, of 3 subs. It included specifics up to how many nuclear warheads they carry and how close they can get to Russian subs without being detected. And then I told you, so all of that is happening, and he's shooting up in the polls. And when you see those interviews of Trump supporters outside of the rallies, they're like, none of this is true. It's the big lie. He won the election, et cetera. And you wouldn't say to me, you guys are in a cult? It's actually tame, what Hillary Clinton was saying.
She's right. These violent tendencies are caused because it's what MAGA pushes. It's them. And if you want an illustration, let's listen to some Donald Trump speeches. Let's listen to some of his rhetoric, perfectly packaged to show what he pushes by the Biden campaign in this ad. Let's check it out.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees.
26-year-old Rakeem Jones was punched in the face as he was escorted out of Donald Trump's rally last night.
Yes, he deserved it. The next time we see him, we might have to kill him.
Very fine people on both sides.
Get the fuck out of here! Jews will not replace us!
And right Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Multiple capital injuries! Multiple capital injuries!
That always sticks with me, that Trump says, and maybe it's him just trying to show off, oh, I have all this money. Not really actually sure if Donald Trump does have any money anymore after all those fines. Certainly doesn't seem to be a billionaire. But maybe it's Trump saying, oh, I have all this money is why he does it. Saying, I will pay your fines. I will pay your legal bills if you beat up the protesters, if you attack the protesters at my events. Maybe it's about the showing off the wealth thing. But to me, that's the clearest example of Donald Trump giving a permission structure to his supporters to engage in political violence, to try to scare their opponents, to try to make them fear doing the right thing because they know retribution is coming. It is the perfect example because it doesn't just fit, oh, my supporters at my rallies. Donald Trump is pledging pardons for those who went to the Capitol and tried to violently overturn the results of our free and fair 2020 election. He's saying, I will pardon you. And that's the Trump promise going forward. If you serve me, whether it be as a supporter trying to attack our democracy, in my administration trying to attack the elements of our bureaucracy that work to serve the American people, I will pardon you. I have immunity. That is what Donald Trump is saying, and encouraging political violence. And it's not just that he encourages it, he laughs at it. Like I said, he tries to normalize it. After Paul Pelosi was attacked by one of his supporters, this is what Donald Trump had to say.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
Making a joke out of these really real and raw and terrifying acts just goes to normalize it. Again, trying to program it into MAGA that Donald Trump will back you on your attacks on public officials, their families, and our democracy. That's the example that he wants to set for his movement. That's what he wants to be programmed into the MAGA mindset. That's what he wants. And in the wake of the events of 2 days ago, a conversation about gun violence has also resurfaced, which is incredibly important, an issue that we don't pay nearly enough attention to for how much it plagues our society. But maybe that's because someone like Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party, and the GOP has never cared about gun violence in the way it affects our lives. Not only do they not care, Donald Trump went so far to brag about doing nothing about preventing gun violence during his administration. Take a look.
During my 4 years, nothing happened, and there was great pressure on me having to do with guns. We did nothing. We didn't yield. And once you yield a little bit, that's just the beginning. That's the avalanche begins.
Just absolutely disgraceful. And what's even more disgraceful than Donald Trump's inaction is what happens when Donald Trump sees the results of his inaction, how he feels, or again, his lack of feeling. He lacks action, he lacks character, he lacks feeling, and this is a perfect example. After a devastating shooting in Iowa, this is what Donald Trump had to say.
It's just horrible to see that happening. That's just horrible. So surprising to see it here. But we have to get over it. We have to move forward. We have to move forward.
We have to get over it? We have to get over it? Really? Is this your leader, Republicans? Is this your guy? The person who is stoking the flames of fear and anger? And then when the consequences come, he pushes them to someone else? To families who have lost loved ones? Is this your guy? Because it's certainly not ours. It's certainly not ours. And that's why we have to defeat Donald Trump. There are too many reasons, but this all on display perfectly shows the lack of character, the lack of action, the lack of empathy. All three things Trump lacks or doesn't have. But Joe Biden does, and that is why we are reelecting him in November. Now, if you like this video, make sure to let me know in the comments by dropping a blue heart, letting me know that you watched till the end and you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We are a new channel, but us collectively right now, we are building something that I am really, really excited about. And of course, if you did like this video, you can tell me in the comments, or you can just hit the like button. That is a really easy way to tell me that you like this video, and I so appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see y'all next time.